Hello, friends. My name is Deepak, and I'm a tax code advisor. And every week, I answer your questions in this video format. So, if you have any kind of question related to taxes, business, any kind of big money move you're about to make, and you want to know something about it, if I can add some value, you're welcome to reach out to me via WhatsApp. Just send me your question, and I'll try to answer those for you in this format. If you would like to set up a consultation with me, you're always welcome to do that. I strongly believe that anybody in this country can build wealth. It doesn't matter if you are a W 2 employee, have a side hustle, a business owner, or an investor. I strongly believe that the US government has provided us so many tools to build wealth. The only problem is we just don't understand how to use those tools. And that's why we are dealing with all sorts of problems. We are still wondering how Social Security will survive. How are we going to pay for medical? We are wondering if we can save for our child's education and if we will have a safe and secure retirement. I think all of those challenges can be easily solved by simply implementing the tools that are available to us. And that's what I do in my consultation calls. I just bring those tools to your attention and show you how to use them so that way you can build awesome wealth in this country. Another problem I see oftentimes is that people believe that unless they are a high income earners, they have no choice. Like they have no choice how they can save for retirement, how they can save for education, how they can build a safe and secure retirement. But that is not true. I think our system is designed in a way that allows you to build wealth no matter where you are in life. And if you want to challenge that, you can. But I encourage you to just set up at least an hour consultation with me, and then we can debate on this. And I think after that hour consultation, you will believe that there are plenty of tools available to us to build an enormous wealth in this country. So that's what I do for a living whole day long. Obviously, we do your taxes from filing your taxes all the way uh, to help you save on taxes over the years. And in my free time, I answer your questions. So today's question is about two business partners in a company, and one business partner wants to know how they can negotiate a salary with the other partner. So this is actually an interesting question because if you're asking me this question, then I'm starting to wonder what kind of relationship you have with your partner. Because honestly speaking, when you set up a partnership structure in a business, that by definition means that both parties, and I'm assuming two people are here as a partnership, are involved in the business. That means two people are supposed to make all sorts of decisions together to grow the business. But because you're asking me this question, that tells me that the chemistry between the two partners is perhaps not there. And that gets me worried. So that's number one. Number two is I would start out with an operating agreement. So when you set up a partnership, you must have established an operating agreement. Now, those of you guys who are thinking about starting a partnership or maybe already have a partnership and you don't have an operating agreement or you don't know what operating agreement is, basically operating agreement defines how are you going to make decisions and how will this partnership be operated. So a lot of these kind of questions about salaries, selling, buying, they all can be answered if you have a proper operating agreement. So normally when people come to me to set up a business, whether it's a C corp, S corp, or partnership, even for sole proprietors, I try to explain to them how the operating agreements work, what are some of the things they should consider incorporating in the operating agreement. And after that, I get an attorney involved and have them draft a proper operating agreement. Sometimes I will have clients who will walk into an office and they say, "Oh, we already have an operating agreement." But in reality, what they have is a template that they copied somewhere online. That template have nothing to do with your business. Every business is unique. If you own a restaurant, you're going to operate that restaurant quite differently than, let's say, if you have a UPS store. If you have a hotel motel, it will be different. IT company will be different. Medical practice will be different. So each one of those is quite different. Another thing I notice is sometimes people start out with a sole prop and then they bring on the partner. They bring on a partner and they will convert that sole prop into a partnership, but they would have no operating agreement. So those are some of the common mistakes I see in my practice. So if possible, avoid those. And if you don't know how to set an operating agreement, then definitely reach out to me and I'll definitely help you do it properly. So that's number one. I'll start with an operating agreement. Without that, you're going to have conflicts because if your operating agreement defines that, each partner takes only $50,000 salary, and I give you an advice that go ask for $100,000, well, then you will be in violation of your operating agreement, and that can create a lot of problem. So that's number one. Number two, sometimes I see people they will randomly pick a salary number. So when you're taking a salary from a business, we need to look at how is that structure set up? Is it just partnership, or is partnership owned by somebody else? Does partnership money, the net profit that you get out of partnership, the K1 that is issued to you, is that issued under your name, or is that perhaps issued under a corporation name? So all kind of those scenarios play into a picture before I tell you about this compensation question. So I think I will refrain from giving you a specific number because a lot has to do with what kind of state taxes you have, what kind of FICA taxes you might have to pay, what is your overall tax situation is. There is a right way to set up a partnership and there is a wrong way from a tax perspective, at least. So I need to look at all that and then we can come up with something that works for you. Second part of it is the basic rule from an IRS perspective is that you need to be paid fairly. And that's where a lot of opinions can come into play. For example, a CEO of an Apple corporation will be paid X dollars versus a CEO of a local restaurant will be paid, significantly less. So if I look at the percentages wise, those percentages would not match. If I look at the dollar wise, it would not match. So what I like to do is I like to take a look at from a same industry, what are people making? So let's say if you're in a restaurant industry, I'll be taking a look at what other restaurant owners are making. And based on that, you can come up with a reasonable compensation for yourself. When you look at that, you can't just look at the other restaurants. You need to look at your location. For example, if a restaurant in San Francisco might have a different price, different salary versus somebody who have in San Antonio. I would also take a look at the standard of that restaurant. So, for example, there might be a high end restaurant that would have a different salary versus a lower end restaurant will have a different salary. I would also take a look at your responsibilities. Somebody might manage an overall business versus somebody else might manage, let's just say, only customer service. So, a lot has to do with that. Okay. Another thing I like to consider is what kind of cash flow your business is producing. Because if that business is not producing a lot of cash flow, then perhaps I will choose a lower salary because at the end of the day, you exist so that your business can survive. And if your business can't survive, how can you possibly pay yourself? So we need to make sure that that exists. Then another thing I would probably look at is what kind of debt your company has, if any. Because if I were to increase your salary and your company has a lot of debt and you're paying a lot of interest payments on it, that can be a big problem as well. If you have any kind of agreements with the existing business owners of your business, maybe other partners, that's where that can come into play as well. two common thing I see people do when they're running into this kind of problem. Um, Again, you did not really specify how big your company is, but let's just say if your company was 5 million or $10 million, like a large size company, then you may also consider hiring an HR manager. And that HR manager can help you with all this because they will be able to make recommendations. Sometimes people just simply hire a consultant, and sometimes people just go to their tax professional and just ask them blindly, right? Because we do so many taxes of different kind of businesses, we can tell you, what other people are taking. We're not going to tell you who is taking what. That would be invasion of somebody's privacy. But we can definitely guide you that, hey, look, in your area, I think this would be a reasonable compensation. So that's how I will go about that. But the biggest thing I will advise you in this case is be, you know, instead of looking at it from your individual perspective, look at it from a business perspective. What does your business need? And if you can make a case around that, then I think you will have a better luck having your partner understand that. Versus if you kind of focus on yourself, then your partner might see that you're trying to get too much out of the deal and maybe potentially even try to back out or something like that. So that's how I. So those are all my thoughts about that particular scenario. But if you have a questions or you would like me to speak with you in person, then just go to Tax Code Advisors and set up an appointment, and let's talk together and see if we can find a good solution. You're welcome to bring your partner onto the call as well. By the way, I love those when both parties are there, so that way the partner doesn't feel that we're trying to do something behind their back. We would like both partners to be involved. But if you want to discuss your personal situation, like if you have that K1 that goes to your S corp or C corp or something like that, then we should probably meet in person and figure it out together before we bring on the partner. All right, so thank you so much for sending me that question. And if anybody you watching, you have a question, you're welcome to send it to my WhatsApp number, and I'll try to answer it on the next call.